Okay, this was a first for you, I believe. The very first time at a Christmas haunt. Very special Christmas haunt, the Massacre out in Montgomery. What'd you think?
Fantastic. I loved it when we went for Halloween. That was one of my favorites for the whole season. But the Christmas one, it just, from the start, I mean, everything's decorated for Christmas. There's a big monster, holding, a Christmas hat, like a Santa hat. Everything's decorated with lights and everything. And I knew right away, I'm like, this is gonna be great. And sure enough, it was. I absolutely loved it from the beginning. The first room we got into, there was a twitchy nurse doing her thing with the bandaged face and holding a syringe and just doing and I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. So I loved it from the start. Very detailed. Once again, I mean, this is an incredible haunt. Very, like studio quality, like Universal Disney type sets. Very impressive. It was great for Halloween. Great again. There's just many different scenes. There's a scene where you walk through a movie theater and there's a plane crashed into the side of the building. Great. I mean, there's too many things to even mention. Just go see it. That's all I can say. Go see it. If you have a chance, check it out. This one, I'd have to say I can't give it 5. It's gonna get a 6. It got a 6 for the Halloween one, and once again, it was a nice treat to be out for, to have something to do for Christmas that's haunt related. But it was great. I'm giving this one 6 chainsaws. Fantastic.
All right, Jim, this is the Massacre Haunted House Special Christmas Edition. Only held on one weekend this year in 2014. Your first Christmas experience. What did you think of the Massacre?
Well, I'll tell you what, that was for an introduction to the Christmas haunt experience. This was absolutely phenomenal. A top-notch haunt experience. I think from the very beginning, from the introduction, even just, waiting in line as the familiar Christmas music is playing, but on a reverse loop, is just quite unnerving. Of course, you've got people in character coming up to you in line, and you're already kind of freaked out by the music, which should be familiar but isn't. And then you're on edge anyway prior to entering. And once you enter this experience, I have to say each room is just incredibly detailed and well thought out. Whether you're moving from a Candyland type set through a set that requires 3D glasses, to individuals who in character crawling on the ceiling above you and dropping down, and you're constantly looking at even the characters who are not live people. You're wondering when, in fact, they're going to jump out at you, and that experience of being on edge the entire time and not knowing what's going to reach out and jump at you or grab at you, it just makes for a phenomenal experience. I think there wasn't one set that we walked through that I felt was lacking in any way. I think some of the highlights for me, again, as I mentioned earlier, was the 3D section, which was unique, that you didn't have them on the entire time, but rather walking through a tunnel, walking through kind of like a hall of mirrors where the images were changing. I think the church setting, with this kind of crazy bishop-like character who greeted you when you went in. You figured he was lurking in the background, then he jumps over a casket and comes at you again. I mean, very effective. That church was effective. The movie theater sequence was incredibly well done with live people, and then again, characters that you're expecting to jump up and weren't. And then you're in this major set piece with kind of the marquee of classic films. And then you walk into a section, you think the haunt is over, and then you have these incredible sets with like an airplane crashing into the side of a building. Every time you thought it was kind of winding down, it ramped up again. So in conclusion, I think this was a phenomenal haunt. Again, my first for a Christmas haunt, but we'll definitely be back in February for the Valentine's version of this, and I'd say, without question, a 5 chainsaw rating for me.
All right. Yeah, the Massacre always delivers. This was a Christmas-themed haunt, so you had a little bit of fun interjected in here. It was essentially the same Massacre as in Halloween, all the great scenes, all the things you like. But the characters, the actors this time around, were more Christmassy. For example, several of the actors had ornaments stuck in their faces, like halfway stuck in their faces. One girl had candy canes, like stuck, jammed in her cheek, which is hilarious, okay? And the twitchy nurse was awesome, okay? There were some really good creepy scenes. There was a a scene where we walked through the pews of a funeral, and there was this crazy guy in there, and you never knew if one of the people was going to come alive. Of course, there's a 3D section right in the middle, which is great, and you think it's over with it, but it's not. There's more at the end. There's even more outside. There are so many different scenes. Theater scene, jail scene, boiler room, outside, somebody's house. One of my favorite things that I've never seen at any other haunt, the Christmas tree that opens up and there's somebody in there. And it was great because we walked by and the guy just opens the Christmas tree real quick. Merry Christmas! And he closes it. Just funny. The funny stuff. The actors were hilarious in here. By the time we were in the third room, it was already well worth the price of admission because it was just funny. It was hilarious. There were so many things. The actors and the actresses were great. They were creepy, but funny.
Entertaining.
Entertaining, without a doubt. And some really clever makeup.
The actors are great.
There was a guy who was made up like a peppermint, piece of candy. His face had the stripes on it and all that in the Candyland area, which was really funny. Everything about it was excellent. And at the end, I have to mention the guys dressed up like little drummer boys or nutcracker guys that came out after us and sort of marched us out. Top notch. Great for creativity. Excellent Christmas haunt. You'll be happy to know, for those who are fans of the Massacre, they're doing a Valentine's themed haunt February 13th and 14th of 2015. So I'd highly recommend it.
I can't wait. I'm going to be there. I'll be there.
It's definitely 5 out of 5 for me, definitely.